Conscious collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, y'all? This is Emily.
And I'm Lisa, and we are the Conscious Collaboration.
You're so conscious.
Yes, it's better than unconscious.
It's so much better than unconscious. Well, I mean, for this time of day, at least.
Yes, yeah. I've been really enjoying my dreams lately. They're super weird. Yeah, I don't even really remember them other than I'm waking up and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so glad that was a dream. That was a dream. Thank goodness. Yeah.
I did. This was last week or something, and I do remember Olivia was next to me, and I haven't often remembered my dreams for some years now since I've been using the red light, really, and I've talked about that before, but I don't know what was going on in this dream, but you know how, like, okay, if you need to run for whatever reason in a dream, that's like always super hard, right? Well, I was trying to apparently yell in the dream, and like I couldn't, but Olivia like kind of woke me up / I woke myself up trying to say help. She was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know, but it was really hard to talk, and I don't know why I was asking for help, but now I'm glad that wasn't real. So I don't know what was up with that, but
you were compelled to try to get something out to be able to talk while you're sleeping. That's hard.
For help. That seems
seems pretty urgent. Nothing like a 9-year-old to put you in your place when a 9-year-old going on 25.
That she will. What are you doing?
Why are you so weird?
Help me.
Obviously. So it's I think I was reflecting on our last conversation, thinking I think we got on the topics of like just my existential crisis and AI and just really making sure that we're the ones steering the ship through any type of chaos. And I think that topic still applies. You were saying we're in full Cancer season right now. And I had a lot of friend birthdays last week. It was Rachel Weaver's on 4th of July. Nice. I do have quite a few Cancer friends out there. And how unfortunate for them I think Cancer, don't you feel like they got the short end of the stick in terms of like the astrological sign name and the symbol? And
you don't really know the history behind that and kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg, and why the disease category is called that either. Right. I don't know what up with that.
Right. It's interesting, but none of my Cancer friends fit the mold of come out from under the table type of people. I think they're, sensitive to a degree like Pisces are in a lot of ways, but I don't know, maybe like first half of Cancer is one type and the second half is another type.
I don't know. I would say, no shade, it's probably the most difficult energy for me to relate to personally. I don't have a sliver of it in my chart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not much water in there to speak of at all. And what I do have is Scorpio, which I feel like is quite different.
Mhm.
And I I think I sent you this. I'm sure I did, but I did see kind of a funny reel, and you know, the astrological ones tend to lean more towards whatever sign is in its season.
Mhm.
And so it was something like all the different signs reaction or how they feel about cancers. And the Gemini one was like, I feel like I was put on this earth to get under their skin.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Geminis can kind of have that like testing or like stirring the pot type of, or impish, curious
I feel like I
about them.
terrify many of them, but
Mm.
you know,
I like you too.
hopefully it's endearing.
Yeah, I think so. They probably find you fascinating. Yeah, but so last week was the new moon. Um I think we talked about it a little bit last week as well too, but a lot of women in particular were feeling like really different where they were in their cycles, their energy levels, their menstrual cycles. Everything was like a little bit off or prolonged. Just really seemed to, and I know I'm speaking mostly to the women. I'm curious, like if the men felt any difference going into Cancer season as well too, and what that meant. I know there were lots of elevated energy around relationships I was hearing in all the forecasts and yeah, kind of puts, whenever I hear those, I'm like, okay, high alert, what's shifting? Is it business? Is it personal? But yeah, I'm one of the people still, I told you last week too, that I was just coming out of hermit mode, like in the ebb and flow of cycles. So feel like, now I'm finally back into like a good rhythm and creatively inspired. And, I know we've both been doing a lot of work on our home spaces and our workspaces. So I think it's a good time to regroup and to evaluate and make sure that, in our alignment of our energy and our bodies, that we're also doing that work in our home spaces, our workspaces, the views that we see throughout the day. So those are all really important.
Yeah, I have to say, thus far, I'm really kind of enjoying and embracing this one
Mhm.
more so than I usually do. Like, really kind of been taking on that, energy of caring for the home and my environment, and that just makes it um just a more pleasant place to be and to spend time. And I think it's really valuable, especially um, taking the time to do that in between two more kind of party energy seasons with, Gemini and Leo on the bookends there.
Yeah, I'm still finding ways to fit in like my little party moments throughout the day. But
Mhm.
it's not like an onslaught of I still do my coffees and networking and that type of thing, but I do it on a smaller scale. And going out has shifted more towards cooking meals and going for walks with people. It feels like a lot of just a little bit of a downshift and a lot of internal work.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here for it this time.
Mhm.
Oftentimes
So,
I'm like, oh God, here come the emotion.
Yeah. And I think also, I mean, yeah, I think also being inwardly focused and, keeping your circles small and adds to that stability too during this time rather than spreading yourself thin. I before this phase, I was very much in a say yes to everything phase. So I was all over the place, like entirely spread thin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been nice to regroup and to focus on foundations and you know, focus on the kids and self-care type of stuff. So that's been really good because I know in the next season, like you said, we're going to get into Leo and it'll be party
Mm-hmm.
going out. I don't know. I don't have any trips planned or anything. And psychologically, I'm a little bit preparing for hurricane season
Mm.
in Florida. So I'm like making sure I have everything just lined up and taken care of to prepare for that season as well too. And that means like psychologically within my space and my property, but also my business too, just to get the systems up and running so that I'm making money even when I can't have my appointments. So that's I learned last year to have those systems in place in case I lose. We lost power for so long, and obviously people weren't going out and taking care of things except for survival. So, even if it's a quiet season, I just will feel so much better psychologically and in my nervous system if I have all those things lined up.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that, we get a little bit of a breather after such an intense last year, but, thus is the price you pay for living in paradise, I suppose, is
Yeah, yeah.
that season's going to come around every year and there's always that potential. So I think it's good to, um, yeah, to do like you said and sort of be prepared for it psychologically and in business and obviously the literal
Mhm.
like hurricane prep in your home.
Yeah, yeah. And I know it's cancer season and we don't want to get into like too many emotional topics or anything, but I was really shook up by the flash flood in Texas.
Yeah, that
That
was
really has been weighing on me. Like I'm really like grateful and that, I have my kids and
yeah,
we're all safe and sound and all of that. There's like just some things you just can't prepare for.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Mother Nature is tough.
yeah, I mean, to talk about like the cycles. I mean, that wasn't even like season related,
Hmm.
but it's unpredictable and even more reason just to really live in presence in the moment and gratitude for sure too.
Hmm.
But really, there were so many amazing hero stories that came from that, and people that risk their lives or perish for other people. So there's good people out there that even today still that just are compelled to put their lives on the line to save people, even if they don't know them. And so, I mean, I think it's still sad and it's still dark, but that's the bright in it.
Well, and
Um,
I think that's where one kind of has to put their focus when these things happen. These awful, just unpredictable surprise
Mhm.
tragedies, because inevitably, like we, experienced to some degree as well with our storms last year. There's always going to be heroes and good Samaritans that emerge, And it's nowhere near an even trade-off, but I think
Yeah.
to sort of get through it, that's where you have to turn your attention.
Yeah, it really restores my faith in humanity.
Mhm.
Even just seeing the people around the world that care. It was kind of weird. So last week I went out for coffee with the food whisperer. Went out with
Oh.
Adrian. Yeah, we have an episode coming out where we did a cacao ceremony together
Mm.
in the kitchen, and so we were talking about that and planning for that, just catching up on life and everything. And of course, we were at Sumitra, so we had to have cacao there.
Mhm.
But I started flagging, there were some intuitives on Instagram. And I know like a lot of intuitives on Instagram are bunk or taking advantage of people. I think it was Japan that has a well known intuitive that has predicted things before. And I had just seen it before we went out for our coffee date. And so we're talking, just about how we're riding the ebbs and the flows of like wild energy and chaotic energy. And it seemed that we were a lot in the same place. I mean, it makes sense for us all to be in the same community, the conscious collaboration, like that we have a similar experience as business owners and just, the way that we're open or just sensing the environment. And so I was sharing with her that I saw this story, of course, on Instagram, because that's where I get my trusted news from before I go verify it. And they were telling the story of this intuitive in Japan, and she had a premonition that something of an environmental nature would be very traumatizing on 4th of July weekend. And so I wonder if that was what, and she mentioned something about it being a water event or like kind of like a tsunami. So in Japan, they canceled some activities based on that because they didn't know where this was going to hit. And she had predicted things before in the past. So they really honor her, even like on a business and government and society level, they will hold off on things. So that was an interesting story. And I was sharing that with Adrian. We're like, I wonder, like, is there something that's going to happen? And I know that we have more visibility, so we can cherry pick. There's always something of tragedy happening in the world, but I thought that was interesting.
Well, Jimmy predicted it too.
Really? What did he say?
Yeah, I had listened to or watched a live stream of his the weekend
Mhm.
before, and he's been talking about water events. He named that a period of dates
Mhm.
um that would be the beginnings of some things, and he said that he which this obviously
Lined up.
come to pass yet, but he said, he's talked about some sort of earthquake and tsunami event
Oh, wild.
coming
Yeah.
well. He's mentioned, the Asian continent, the west coast of the U.S. So I don't think the intention with a lot of these folks who are accurately predicting stuff is to scare people or
Right.
induce fear or anything, and I certainly don't think that's what he's trying to do, but just something to kind of be aware of.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting too. And we have a lot of spiritual entrepreneur people in our group. And I remember like 20 years ago, starting out in my career in corporate and television, I noticed it was the people in power, like the executives, people of high stature, even celebrities that I met, they all had an intuitive. They had energy readers, they had tarot readers that they trusted, they consulted them weekly. I mean, it's just part of their wellness routine and even strategy in terms of acquiring businesses or making decisions on I had major players from all around the world and I worked in programming that would have me change dates because they couldn't fly on certain dates based on their intuitive, whether that be a tarot reader, astrology. So, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting that it's become a bigger discussion. People are listening to these energetic forecasts and energy updates, and it's not, of course, it still falls in the woo category a lot of times, but also a lot of these practices are rooted in really deep ancestry and environmental science. So it's kind of like people are honoring an attunement to things that we can't see.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's generally speaking, just like with astrology or tarot or any of these methods, like I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good idea to just like make every decision bound to any outside entity, but I think it's um in a lot of contexts a really great thing to just include in your you know um in the information that you're looking at, and using it to create your own opinions based on all the best available information.
Yeah, I think it speaks to, I mean, everybody always says do what you want with it type of thing, especially if they're reading for public or mass readings. It's like, do what you want with it, but this might resonate with someone. But what it does is it lets us tune into senses that we might be ignoring otherwise. So it gives us more clarity and just like unawareness. If something happens, we kind of already have it in our mind to be able to act or to know what to do. Um, and we did, even in the corporate world and in television, we did change dates for people. If it's a fear for them on some level, like it would be harmful to like be like, no, you have to come here, under these like, why would you do that to somebody? So we would make those accommodations. Treated at the same level as if someone had a religious holiday or something like that. It's, even if it's something that you believe to be true and isn't true, it's still true to the person that believes it.
Sure.
So it could manifest in a negative way. But
And if nothing else, you know, it can just put you in a I would hope a reasonably heightened state of awareness just in certain situations, so as not to be caught off guard.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so easy to get stuck in Groundhog's Day, expecting the same routines, the same patterns to exist in everything. And without the additional information I mean, we have such an advantage now that we have a connectedness with so many people locally and internationally, all of us, every person alive today, that it gives us access to a lot. I mean, a lot of the information is false, mind you, but it gives us more access to information that we can discern from, to help us make better decisions, or we've been talking a lot about using tools, but just that is a good tool in itself, especially as we're talking about living a more aligned life.
Well, and on that note, I think it's equally as important to like we're always talking about, be tuned in to your own personal alignment as well, because I think the combination of the two, because what you don't want happening is, I think it's easy to sort of cross that very gray blurry line from being aware into becoming, paranoid, and really affecting your quality of life, because you're letting fear of certain situations take over versus living your life um in an informed sense.
Empowered and better
Couple
equipped.
that you can couple getting the outside information, especially from more intuitive people that you've come to trust, with being
Mhm.
in touch with your own intuition, your
Yeah.
own inner alignment, um so that then you don't get overwhelmed with all this outside information and just sort of let that take you over, and you know then you're
Yeah.
hiding out in your house and not wanting to
Yeah.
live or go anywhere because you're just afraid of the world.
Use the tool, don't be the tool, I think is where we
There we
left
go.
off. So there's things that are non-physical that we might have in our toolbox. One thing that's been a big topic of conversation, and I referenced, just preparing for hurricanes and that type of thing. And I've had a few people reach out to me locally that they're living, they're dating people that didn't really do very well, like through the hurricane experience. So they left, like, for example, their hurricane shutters up from last year.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of that, I feel like.
It's like the worst thing you can do in your environment is to restrict the light and the airflow and to create that yin imbalance, even though they're clear, that corrugated plastic or whatever, it's causing environmental destruction to the exterior of the building and really warping the light. And so it's, even though people aren't talking about, oh, it impacted me in a negative way, you can see it. You can see, yeah, it did. Because you still have your hurricane shutters up. Like, that's no way to live. That's not living in like an empowered way or a trusting way. That's living in like,
Right.
a really, it can cause depression, illness, and certainly will introduce mold into an environment. So I've seen even in a lot of the contractor groups that I'm in, remodels or home sale, that people are showing their homes with hurricane shutters up. And it's really interesting. And I know there's a cost associated if you hire a company to like install them and take them down and whatnot. And it is a hassle. But it's not, they would feel so much better if they took those shutters down.
Yeah, there's a cost associated with leaving them
Yes.
up as well. It might not be the same.
It might not be financially, but I mean, it might be financially as well too. And feng shui window
If it's warping
your view of the,
yeah.
Seeing a lot of hoarding, it introduces hoarding into, because you realize that people can't see in your windows. So why make it look presentable, So I've seen, even in my neighborhood, which is a really nice neighborhood, hurricane shutters left up. I can see on the windows that are open. Maybe there's like one or two that are open, because we usually leave, when we board up our homes, we usually leave one window open so we can get out. So I know it's really morbid. But you can see in the windows that there are just things like supplies, things piled up over the windows. And I just know that, these are people that did not deal with that situation very well. And they, in some way, are trying to protect themselves psychologically by blocking out the world. It's probably collecting or hoarding supplies or whatnot, but it's a real, we talk about
living.
Yeah. We talk about, diabetes and things in the body that are sometimes very quiet illnesses. But within the environment, it's a real epidemic. People living in a yin imbalance where they're shutting out light. They've got, the darkening curtains closed all day. And there's something to that where when you block out the world, you let things fall apart on the inside.
And it might seem quiet as it's happening, but as with, insulin resistance developing into diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
it's really a toxic situation that's going on behind the veil, and eventually it always comes to a head. And
It will
like,
manifest in your body too.
get here, and by the time
Mm-hmm.
it comes out of that quiet
Mm-hmm.
sort of destruction, which it will,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's really hard to wrap your brain around how to get it turned back around.
Yeah, it's a heaviness you can feel driving by.
Mhm.
On the flip side, there's people that left their Christmas lights up
Mhm.
coming out of the
So to
season,
keep some element of
clinging to
Mhm.
that joy and happiness. And, I think I'm not going to knock it, like we live in eclectic, artistic cities, and in downtown St. Pete, they left the colored lights on the high rises even. So I mean, that's one way to psychologically try to brighten or to maintain the joy. So I'm kind of here for it on that. That if done in a tasteful way, that can help support people that are still recovering to see something that reminds them of peace and happiness and celebration and family. So,
Well, look, this may not work for everybody, and I'm certainly not, a mental health professional, but I also found it to be really important. And granted, I did not sustain damage to my
mhm,
home in any type of way, and was really fortunate in both of those storms in a lot of ways. But I experienced the collective
mhm,
sadness, and we talked a lot about that um back when it was happening, and I found it to be really important to you know find places outside and in nature and in the
mhm,
beauty of my surroundings, um wherever I could, feel the gratitude for having those places. And then when we could go back to the beach,
mhm,
like just really finding that gratitude in every single, grain of sand between my toes and every single wave that I got to experience. And just, you know, I just think that energy is what helps to repair the trauma and the sadness from experiencing something like that. Is just really like, okay, I will never take this for granted, because
mhm.
I know what can happen. But how amazing is it that I get to come back and experience this at all? um,
Right.
so I think that would be a good way to start to reframe,
Mhm.
if you find yourself going down that other path of wanting to sort of shut yourself
Yeah.
in. And I think that also, like what you're talking about with just calm and intentional preparation, um,
Mhm.
is another great way to
Mhm.
get on top of that fear-based thinking and behavior, because that you're prepared, and you'll have a plan of what you're going to do
Mm-hmm.
in any given scenario.
Yeah, again, it's more empowered based than victim mentality. And yeah, I mean, I think too, it's just kind of for everybody out there, everybody's everywhere around the world, every state in the United States, every country has their own natural disasters that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a fact, like choose where you're willing to walk through them with your family and communities, and we chose here. And
Mm-hmm.
I still love it here. I still feel the water and the nature is still very healing, and it still exists, and it's a good demonstration that through destruction comes beauty again on the other side. But internally, I would say, because it came up so many times, more than three, so I know it's something that's relevant to listeners. I would say, if you are someone that still is living in a block the world out type of, and it happened during COVID too, right? It happened with a lot of teenagers shutting in with video games and room darkening curtains and so on and so forth. But I would say, put your, look through the lens of your camera or your phone. Who has a camera these days? You might. But look through the lens of your phone at your environment and really get an honest look. Like, if it looks dark, if it looks, blocked out from the world, you are probably blocking out opportunities, connections, and really just your best self. And that, if you can't do it alone, ask for help. I will say, even if I can't afford a mega vacation in a year, I will still maintain a housekeeper to help me clean. And it feels so amazing, like better than a vacation sometimes. To have like come home to a really like fresh environment, very, cleaned better than anything that you could do. To me, is more valuable than that. So I would never, I would always find a way to make that like a maintenance for my own self. But to suggest to people to find ways to really freshen up your space, get it as clean as you can, wash those windows or hire someone to help you if you have a lot. And every time that I get to experience that like clean reset, there's new beginnings and new opportunities. So I would invite everybody listening, if you're in that position, or, even if you see someone that needs help, that would make a great gift if you bought them window washing or housekeeping help, or an assistant, a block of hours from an assistant for a week to help them get their lives even just a little bit back on track in their environment, creating systems. It can make such a big shift.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure. And good job on your furniture that you're building in your
Thanks.
in your house. That's pretty cool.
I was pretty proud of that. Yeah, I've got the last sort of piece of that I've got some assistants coming to help me with tomorrow, but
Good.
That was a 3-day project that I'm pretty dang proud of, because assembly is just not not my favorite thing to do, and it's not really a great skill of mine.
That is not mine either. It's yeah, especially like a big furniture items with lots of little pieces. You've conquered it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
to get into a flow, get a good podcast going, and kind of figure out which parts do what. But
yeah,
it was a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm excited. Yeah, so I think, next steps, we should do a check-in, a temperature read inside of our closed and private Facebook group, the Conscious Collaboration Collective. and just see how people have been a little quiet. I know we go through bursts of activity. And my assistant is finishing up some projects on my foundation side, and then he'll be shifting into getting our YouTube channel up and running. So there'll be like a bank of content there. That will be exciting to launch and just see like what can we offer to our community and support during this time, cancer time, and then we can shift into showy Leo mode around the corner.
Yeah,
so,
I'm for it.
Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for us, you need support in creating any foundations or any tips that you want to share with the collective, we'd love to hear from you. Join us there. You can connect with us at Instagram and email, and still keep sending in your applications to be guests. We are starting to slot those back in. So as soon as we get our ducks in a row and our new flow and schedule, we'll start inviting you guys in. So we've got a really exciting lineup in the wings there. So lots to look forward to. Emily, it's good catching up with you.
Yeah.
We're the lucky ones, I think. For sure.
Why are we so lucky?
Yeah, we're the lucky ones, the lucky girls. So I will talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.